For 1,000 years, one symbol has dominated the British Isles: the crown. It's more than just a jewel-encrusted hat. It's an institution that has shaped a nation, commanded empires, and survived scandals, revolutions, and world wars. But what exactly is the British crown? How did it begin, and how has its power evolved over 10 centuries? Let's dive into the epic story of the British monarchy, from its bloody beginnings to its modern-day role. Our story starts in 1066, a year that forever changed the course of English history. Before this, England was a patchwork of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. But everything changed with the Norman conquest. William the Conqueror, a duke from Normandy, crossed the English Channel, defeated King Harold at the Battle of Hastings, and seized the throne. This wasn't just a change of king. It was a total political and social overhaul. William established a powerful, centralized monarchy. He brought with him the feudal system, where all land was technically owned by the king, who granted it to his loyal nobles in exchange for military service. This move concentrated immense power in the hands of the monarch. The king wasn't just a ruler. He was the ultimate landlord, the supreme military commander, and the final judge. The Domesday Book, a massive survey of all the land and resources in England, is a testament to the level of control William exerted. The early medieval monarchs were warrior kings, constantly defending their territory and expanding their influence. Their power was absolute, often justified by the concept of the divine right of kings, the belief that their authority came directly from God, and to challenge the king was to challenge God himself. However, absolute power rarely goes unchecked for long. By 1215, King John's disastrous military campaigns and heavy taxes had pushed his barons to their breaking point. They rebelled not to overthrow him, but to limit his power. The result was one of the most famous documents in history, the Magna Carta. For the first time, it was established in writing that the king was not above the law. The Magna Carta laid out certain liberties, such as the right to a fair trial, and required the king to consult with a council of barons before imposing new taxes. This council would eventually evolve into what we now know as Parliament. This was a monumental shift. The idea that a monarch's power should be limited by law and consent was radical, and it planted the seeds of constitutional monarchy. The relationship between the crown and Parliament would become the defining political struggle for the next several centuries. Kings would fight to reassert their absolute authority, while Parliament would continuously push for more control, especially over the nation's finances. The Tudor dynasty, which began with Henry VII in 1485, saw the power of the monarchy reach new heights. Henry VIII, perhaps the most famous Tudor, is a perfect example of a monarch who bent the entire state to his will. When the Pope refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, Henry didn't just find a new wife, he broke away from the Roman Catholic Church entirely. He declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, seizing its vast wealth and lands. This act, known as the English Reformation, dramatically increased the crown's power and wealth. His daughter, Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, continued to rule with immense authority. She expertly navigated religious tensions, defeated the Spanish Armada, and presided over a golden age of culture. The Tudors were masters of propaganda, using portraits, pageantry, and royal progresses to create an image of magnificent, divinely ordained power. They centralized government, weakened the old nobility, and created a more modern, efficient state, all revolving around the person of the monarch. But the Stuart kings who followed the Tudors lacked their political savvy. James I and his son, Charles I, were firm believers in the divine right of kings, and they clashed repeatedly with an increasingly assertive parliament. They believed they answered only to God and shouldn't be constrained by laws made by common men. This conflict over power and religion ultimately boiled over into the English Civil War in the 1640s. The country was torn apart, pitting the royalists, or cavaliers, against the parliamentarians, or roundheads. The war ended in a shocking outcome. Parliament won. King Charles I was tried for treason and executed in 1649. For a brief period, England became a republic under Oliver Cromwell. The monarchy was abolished. This was a profound moment. It proved that the crown's power was not invincible. It could be challenged and even dismantled. However, the republic was short-lived. After Cromwell's death, the people, weary of puritanical rule and political instability, welcomed the restoration of the monarchy in 1660 with the return of Charles II. But the lesson had been learned. The restored monarchy was different. The question of who held ultimate power, the king or parliament, had to be settled once and for all. This came to a head in 1688 with the Glorious Revolution, when the Catholic King James II began to ignore Parliament and favor his fellow Catholics. A group of powerful nobles invited his Protestant daughter Mary and her Dutch husband William of Orange to take the throne. James II fled, and William and Mary were crowned as joint monarchs, but with a crucial condition. They had to sign the Bill of Rights in 1689. This landmark act cemented the supremacy of Parliament. It affirmed that the monarch could not suspend laws, levy taxes, or maintain an army without Parliament's consent. It also guaranteed free elections and freedom of speech within Parliament. The divine right of kings was officially dead. From this point forward, Britain was a constitutional monarchy. The monarch reigns, but Parliament rules. The Crown's political power was systematically transferred to elected representatives. The Hanoverian period, starting with George I in 1714, saw the development of the role of the Prime Minister. Because George I was German and spoke little English, he relied heavily on his ministers to run the government. This led to the rise of figures like Sir Robert Walpole, who is considered Britain's first de facto Prime Minister. Power shifted from the royal court to a cabinet of ministers who commanded a majority in the House of Commons. By the reign of Queen Victoria, the monarch's role had become largely ceremonial. Victoria reigned over the vast British Empire at its height, but she had very little direct political power. Instead, she embodied the nation. She became a symbol of stability, morality, and imperial grandeur. Her long reign defined an era and set the template for the modern monarchy, a figurehead who provides a sense of continuity and national identity, while the real political power lies with the democratically elected government. The monarch's role became to advise, to encourage, and to warn the Prime Minister in their private weekly meetings, a tradition that continues to this day. So, what is the role of the British Crown today? In the 21st century, the monarch, now King Charles III, is the head of state. This is a symbolic and constitutional role. He opens Parliament each year, approves legislation by giving it royal assent, and serves as the head of the armed forces and the Church of England. But these are all carried out on the advice of the government. The monarch does not make policy or get involved in party politics. Their power is soft power. It's the power of influence, not command. The crown provides a focal point for national unity and pride, especially during times of celebration or crisis. Think of royal weddings, jubilees, or state funerals. These events bring the nation together in a way that politics often cannot. The monarch also plays a vital role in international diplomacy, hosting world leaders and acting as Britain's ultimate ambassador on the global stage. The Crown also supports thousands of charities, using its high profile to shine a light on important social causes. From the absolute rule of William the Conqueror to the symbolic leadership of King Charles III, the journey of the British Crown is a story of radical transformation. It's a chronicle of how absolute power was slowly, and sometimes violently, constrained by the will of the people. The Crown survived by adapting, trading political authority for symbolic influence. Today, it stands as one of the world's oldest institutions, a living link to 1,000 years of history, representing continuity in a constantly changing world. Its power is no longer political, but cultural and symbolic, yet it continues to hold a unique and enduring place in the heart of the British nation. What do you think the future holds for the monarchy? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history.